What's shaking, everybody? Hey, I wanted to teach you guys how to take that ginger from the farmer's market and turn that into a nice ginger plant. Now, the reason why I suggest buying ginger at the farmer's market is a lot of times stuff can be sprayed in the grocery stores like spud inhibitors, which eliminate that whole spudding process. That way it's a longer shelf life for things like potatoes. But all we're going to do is simply take this and break it off in segments. So I can see that's going to be a really good piece because I can see these buds popping out. Now, ginger grows as a rhizome, meaning these chunks of roots are rhizomes and just keep expanding and expanding. Now, this is one of the healthiest plants that you can have in your garden. Now, you can use a knife if you want. Personally, I just don't think it really matters. Ginger's a very, very hardy plant. I've got a knife right here on my hip, but I just don't think I need it with the ginger. Now, one thing that I do, take a nice smell, of course, but one thing I do is I don't immediately take this and I plant it. Now, I've already prepared some of these for you guys because I want to show you the difference. This is a nice fresh cut wound where I broke this one off a couple of days ago. And you can see it's nice and hard and calloused over. That's what I want when I plant that in there, because if I take this and I plant it directly in that soil, what's going to happen is it's going to get rot and disease and all that stuff, and it's probably just going to keep rotting away. Now, that's exactly why I like to grow my ginger in pieces really no smaller than this or this. I don't ever want to go smaller than that. That right there is already pushing it to me, but I could see I had some healthy rhizome growth already happening, so I wasn't too worried about it. But the chunks that I like to grow in are about like this right here. I'm the kind of guy, I don't want to sit there and break that off to try to get another plant, because I've found over time that the smaller you make these, the more chance they have of just rotting. So to plant these bad boys, I want to make sure I didn't mix those up with the ones that I just broke. So to plant these, you're going to see all kinds of tips, guys, as far as make sure the buds are pointing up and this and that. I really don't have time to mess with all that business, and I've really found no difference. That ginger's a nice hardy plant. It doesn't matter if you plant that up or plant it upside down. Sure, you might be saving 2 or 3 days, but ginger takes a long time to grow and harvest, as far as you're harvesting that root, that rhizome. And that being the case, what's 2 or 3 days where you have to dig a certain kind of hole? So all I'm going to do, guys, is just lay this in here. I'm just laying that in the soil. Now, the kind of soil that you want to grow ginger in is very, very rich soil that's high in organic matter, okay? Now, you want a lot of different mulches and stuff like that as well, because you want good drainage. You're going to want to keep this soil damp for the most time, but you don't want to keep it waterlogged and wet, because then you're just going to get rot and your harvest is going to be gone. But if you don't have a soil that's high in organic matter, what's going to happen is you're going to have a great looking ginger plant, and it's going to have luscious leaves. And then when you go to pull them out, you're going to go, Captain Planet, now I get it. It didn't grow any of those roots that I wanted to eat. You can use these in your stews, use them in making teas. It's a valuable, valuable medicine for us. So this one right here, for example, I'm going to want to plant like another good-sized chunk one, let's say. And then I'm going to plant just one of these little guys. And now all I'm going to do is take some more gorgeous soil. I like to use about at least 50% compost when I'm growing ginger, just because it's really high in organic matter. I also have a lot of worm castings in here as well. And having something that's high in organic matter, it's also going to be high in those microbes. So then when I spike this with my Soil Plus by Biofeed, what the Soil Plus is going to do is act like a Wi-Fi booster for all those micro homies that I'm putting in here, right? So it's the microorganism's job to transfer nutrients. So he's the guy making like cell phone calls going, hey nitrogen, hey phosphorus, hey potassium, we need you, the plant needs you. Well, I'm going to give him a Wi-Fi booster when I spike this with some Soil Plus. Now you can see I've got the ginger right there, and this is how little I'm covering that. Just a little bit like that. Nice and loose right there. And I always want to leave a few inches right here because I like to do what's called hilling them. Now, meaning when these grow some plants and they're sprouting out, I'm going to add another inch of dirt in here. And then when they get taller, I'm going to add another inch of dirt. They're not quite like potatoes where you have to or can hill them a good foot and get that much more of a yield difference. But with these, if you hill that ginger about 3 inches through the growing process, you're going to probably get a 30% yield increase, in my opinion, as long as that organic matter's high. And like I said, that Soil Plus is going to be kicking in righteously. And then I'll be using some Flora Plus in conjunction with Soil Plus. So that Flora Plus, I'm going to get some great root growth. That's going to help with that rhizome production. And I'm going to be eating even more ginger. Awesome possum, guys. Thanks.